made it to LA?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I made it to LA. I'm actually back in the Bay right now, but made it to LA.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, back in the Bay for just a little bit. I have to get most of my things. Most of my things are already out, so it's just the smaller stuff. Making sure that this room is going to be completely cleared up. But
Sweet.
Life changes.
You're in the middle of the I'm going to move to LA, chase the dream kind of thing right now, right?
Yeah. It's funny because a lot of people think like, LA is like where the big dogs are at, right? Like you're in the industry now, and people think you're going out there and try to get famous, like, oh, I want to get famous. And that's not really the case, it's more so of like, I'm definitely chasing my dreams.
I think you want to book more sessions. That's it. And it's easier to book sessions down there.
Dreams. Yeah. I'm no matter where I am in life, I would always be chasing my dreams. But yes, LA has been the move for that.
Do you think LA is necessary to, get a music career off the ground?
Honestly,
It goes either way, man.
Go ahead, Johnny. It's all you, brother.
I don't think it's necessary at all. People are blowing up over the internet, ever since the internet, people can spread their creativity from anywhere. But there is some advantages to moving to LA. That's where if you want to work with bigger artists, they're always in LA, whether they're from Chicago or if they're from Atlanta. At some point, they're going to be in LA, at least for a little bit. Whereas if you're doing music in Chicago, you're not necessarily going to be from LA and go to Chicago for a recording session, to my knowledge, anyways. But I feel like it does help because it's a capital, so it's just a condensed area of creative people. And I think you can go farther creatively when you're around a lot of creative people that are trying to do very similar things.
Interesting. So what exactly are both your guys' roles in creating music? You're more on the production side, right?
Yeah, I do. I do a lot of production. Jaylon does a lot of production too. She's a better instrumentalist than me, and I've just been making beats forever. So, yeah.
So, explain that process. So, you get to work with an artist, wherever, and usually hip hop, right?
Yeah,
usually. And then they give you vocals, and then, or how does that work?
So it used to be where you could just send somebody a beat and either they record it or they don't. But lately we've been like trying to get in the sessions with the artist so they can kind of help make the instrumental, make the beat, make some of the decisions, have a hand in what's going on in the instrumental. And it makes things not smoother, because sometimes it takes a while. Like you go through like 3 instrumentals until they like get something they're actually feeling. But it's better than just like sending somebody some beats and then having it sit in their inbox forever. Like It's like guaranteed you're gonna get something done, if you're in the room with them putting it together.
I find that there's often a message kind of brought by media of the overnight success. Like you might think of something like Jack Harlow or Billie Eilish, Olivia Rodrigo, where it's just like one song is just boom. And then they're like, overnight success, blah, 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 blah. But I think that really starts to cut out the real like work to get talented. Like maybe one song pops you off, but the talent needed to make that one song might take a decade or two. And so how do you guys managed the like, oh, is it ever going to happen? Are we ever going to pop off feeling?
For me, I just can't help it. I feel like I'm just going to be doing music because I'm so addicted to it. And like, I love working with other people. And yeah, I'm just addicted to doing music. I try not to overthink it,
What gets you about it?
What do you mean?
like you're addicted to music. Most people are addicted to drugs. Why are you addicted to music?
It is the best drug. Like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, like, you know, having a session or like putting a beat together or like having a recording you just did and like having the demo and playing it in your headphones on repeat, like before you go to bed, is like the craziest drug ever. And it's like a feeling
Really?
I'm constantly chasing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, like, it's, you know, sound is very powerful, right? Like sound, how it travels, how it can be translated. You know, when it comes to hertz, when it even comes to even things like a telecom, right? If it comes to things like Wi-Fi and sound and how things are translated and how sound can make you feel, it is very addicting, right? In the most powerful way. Like you could put on a song and you could just rock out to it. It makes you feel energetic, or you could put on a song and it makes you feel calm, or you put on a song and it makes you want to cry, right? It's like, you know, like on this deeper level of sound and frequencies and like vibration and like what that could do. Like there's so many different aspects when it comes to sound. Like some people use sound just for healing, right? Some people use sound to connect with other people. Like it's extremely powerful. So I think something that is so free can comes with like it, but it can come with like a pretty great cost, right? Like sound is free. You can play a piano, you may suck at it, or you may be good at it. And what that does for you has such a higher value than sound itself. That makes any sense.
Interesting. What kind of brought you, what was your guys' original introduction into music and music making process that you guys are in now?
Oh, it's us working together or just starting making
Either,
music?
sure. Or just like, what was the first inspiration to start making beats or to start producing music? Or
did you want to go, Joe?
Sure. I think for me, inspiration, what made me start is like, I mean, so for me personally, music has always been like an escape, right? Whether if I'm just listening to albums and wow, I think when I really fell in love with music was probably, you know, living in the hood, but having my mom who was extremely eclectic to different type of genres. You know, like imagine one day you go to bed to gunshots and everybody around you, you know what I mean? Like I lived in what they would call the hood, whatever, right? But then you go home and you put on this music and you find peace in that. You find everything in that. And so from then, knowing how music can make me feel, I wanted to be a part of it so then I can make someone else feel the same way, if not better than what music has done for me, you know. And as far as Johnny and I, we started doing, like, we met in a art class, but it was for video editing, and we had a project. The whole damn class, the whole time, whatever long the semester was, we had a project. Didn't know Johnny. I just knew him from him like asking questions, but didn't know like how fire he is, right? So we had this project and he has this fire ass video, fire music. And I'm like, what the fuck? You live in Marin? Hell no. Like, you're so dope. So I'm like, yo, let's connect. And since then, what has it been now? A year or two?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, coming up on 2 years, I think.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure, man. Time flies. But yeah, we just like, we linked up, started making music. I'm always looking for people to make music with. And she said she wanted a link. So I was like, down. Why not? And then we're just like kind of trading artists that we like and like kind of just figuring out what our tastes are. It turns out we have a very similar taste. So that makes things a whole lot easier. And yeah, ever since then, it's just been grinding, making beats. Yeah.
What are you guys working on right now?
Oh man. I think right now we're just trying to like get sessions in and make shit stuff with artists like on the fly. Like,
yeah, we've been doing a lot of like admin work on our end, right? So like Johnny and I, we have a project. We have probably 12 songs. Like last time I counted, like we have songs together, but right now I'm just in the middle of like it's hard when you're managing artists and like putting on events and like moving back and forth to and from LA, and then like marketing your own stuff. So that's kind of where I am right now. Like, all right, we got this music. We just got to market it. Basically, I love marketing. I just got to find the time, find the focus, the motivation to be like, let's get it done. Like, if you're gonna do things for other people, you might as well definitely include you in there as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we got some fire, really, really fire music. We call ourselves the Elementals. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, being on 51st Street.
Oh yeah.
Anyway. Yeah.
Sweet. You mentioned earlier how you grew up in the hood. How much do you think like the struggle of Black people in this country was the origin story of hip hop?
It's a really good question. It's funny. Earlier today, this has nothing to do with the question you asked, but earlier today I was thinking like, if I could have grown up or grew up in any area, any era, where and what would it be? And it would be New York around the hip hop season, right? So like hip hop started late 60s, early 70s, right? But it didn't start to like outbreak until like the 80s. And so living in the hood, I mean, you got its atrocities and all the shit that comes with it in the hood, but it's also beautiful. You know what I mean? Some of the best things were created from nothing, right? So, I mean, Black people definitely has a lot to do with culture in general, music, fashion, anything you could possibly think of. Black people have a lot to do with it. You know what I mean? And so I think for your question, as far as like how has that been? It's been beautiful. It's been a struggle, but it's beautiful. It made me who I am today. It made me have a love for music. It made me connect through music. It made me want to create, want to continue the legacy of Black music and Black culture, you know?
Why do you think Black music sounds so much different than anything before it?
It's just magic, bro. It's magic. We're magical, Kalen. We're magical, bro.
I think all American music is Black music. Like it all stems from Black culture.
Like back to slavery, even?
Back to slavery, back to when this country was even founded. I mean, before American music, all we had was like British and Italian music, right? And then like the first form of like entertainment in America were these minstrel shows. And a lot of these minstrel shows, they were doing blackface and trying to copy the music that they heard out in the fields, and you know, coming up with these stories using blackface in this music that was pretty similar from what they were hearing. You know,
interesting.
Yeah.
Those
spiritual. And then I mean, you think about rock music, and you think about, you know, country music and R&B, soul, hip hop. Like it all comes back to routing in some kind of American music that all started from Black culture in some facet.
No, those like the spirituals and the slave songs are really interesting because you can really see how it kind of started the origins of hip hop. Because a lot of it is there's just a beat from, you know, chopping wood or like stomping, and then vocals, and it's a lot of call and recall kind of thing. It's really cool to see.
Yeah.
You guys ever listen to any of them?
Listen to what?
Spiritual slave songs?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You want to listen to one right now?
Nah.
No.
No.
Sure.
We'll have it in the background for background music.
Gotcha. Why do you think you guys funneled towards hip hop instead of any other genre?
For me, I was listening to all kinds of music growing up. I had this school bus driver that every day in the morning, every day he'd play like R&B and soul music off of that station, and then like got into like the Nirvana kind of thing and alternative rock. Listened to a lot of that, and then I wasn't real like as I was growing up. I wasn't really into the hip hop that was contemporary at the moment, which was very like club based and like 50 Cent, T-Pain, who I love now. Like I've come up to have a new appreciation for T-Pain. But at the time, like I wasn't really into like the YNCMB thing. And, so I went back kind of started hearing like 90s hip hop and like underground hip hop. And I really liked that stuff. And I've always been obsessed with like art that's repurposed, kind of like a collage. Or a lot of hip hop has to do with repurposing, like the 5 elements or whatever. Like you're repurposing a piece of cardboard to be a dance floor, you're repurposing a street or a wall to be a canvas, you're repurposing old samples to be a totally different song. And so I heard a lot of that with the 90s and underground hip hop, a lot of like sample based hip hop. And I don't know, I just became obsessed with that side of things with hip hop. But I think I found the beauty in the repurposing aspect of it. Gotcha. And the bass and the beats.
And the bass.
I love bass.
What about you, Jay?
Second everything. I mean, what was the question again? Sorry.
What was the inclination towards hip hop over other genres?
It's just something that I grew up on. I had daycare providers, and my daycare when I was young, my mom would always work all the time, and they would pick us up, and we just had music playing all the time. But I actually like grown to like contemporary jazz. I was able to hear it all. But an inclination to hip hop definitely. I don't know. It's like this universal language, like all the countries that I've traveled, you got somebody listening to hip hop and they don't even speak English, but that connected us. Hey, what are you listening to? I'm listening to, what did he say his favorite? I was in the airport leaving Korea, and I see this kid dressed really cool because Korea has like some of the best like clothing styles, whatever, right? So I'm like hella checking this kid out, like, yo, everything about you is fire, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, what are you listening to? Or just like, I like your shirt, because he didn't speak English, but I'm like, what's in your ear? Lil Pump. Lil Pump's my favorite rapper. And I'm like, well, rappers, all right, cool. But you know what I mean? It's like this, all right, cool, Lil Pump, we good, we Gucci. Yeah. No pun intended. We Gucci.
It's funny. You could listen to like French hip hop and still appreciate it because the beat is there, the flow is there. Like flows in hip hop is such like a huge aspect to like the individuality among like different rappers. You can still like hear that percussive rhythm in their flow, whether it's like a language you understand or not. It's still pretty entertaining to listen to.
Yeah.
100%. In your guys' time in the music industry, what do you think is like the biggest difference between the people who made it and the people who haven't made it yet, musically, or even just like a connection within their audience? Like, what do you guys, what is the next
nowadays?
step?
Oh man, marketing for sure. Like marketing. Marketing is more important than like being really talented in music, I think, at this point.
How are you guys marketing?
I mean, having both definitely helps, but like you can have somebody super talented that never really popped or build a fan base because they didn't want to or knew how to market.
How are you guys marketing?
How are we marketing? That's a great question. It's my favorite question of the day.
There you
go. For starters, grassroots, right? So you have digital marketing, you got Instagram, you got Facebook, you got all the social media platforms, and then you have direct marketing, which is like text messaging services, email blast, social selling, like hitting people up, like, hey, I got this new project on the way. Give it a listen. Pre-save my song, or you could get into editorial playlists through SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Music. There's tons of ways to market, you know what I mean? But the grassroots are, definitely the ones that are inexpensive and more affordable. Like anybody could be famous if they had hella money to put that behind marketing. Like you could be whack, but if you have money for marketing, you're good. How many artists have you listened to and you're just like, how in the hell did they make it? Right? Apart from hard work and dedication, like they probably had money set aside for marketing. They had their whole city to be in support of them. That's all it takes. Like if you have a city of, let's say 13,000 people, right? You got a city of 13,000 people and you're the main rapper, you're the main singer, whatever, in this city. And they like 800 to 1,000 people come and they support you. That's 1,000 real fans. Not only that, but those 1,000 people are then going to tell everybody else about you, right? So then that's going to double. Now you got 4,000 people knowing about you. The next thing you know, your whole city knows about you. So it's just really about like, engagement in terms of social media, but also like doing shows that's going to help your engagement, meeting people, networking, all that stuff.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think there's definitely a dream of kids signing with labels and kind of having that affirmation of you making it. But I feel like there's also a bit of a counter movement of a lot of young artists that are like, fuck the label and try to release independently. Why is that? And is it working?
Social media. I think
social media.
People are figuring out they can market themselves if they're good enough at it. Ownership as well. I think a lot of artists are hearing a lot of these horror stories about these contracts they get stuck in and like 360 deals and whatnot, and they just want to avoid that. And if they're able to build enough of a fan base where they can live off the music and the music's spreading enough, like why sign with a label? Not to say labels are helpful, they help with all that marketing stuff, and they definitely, if they're gonna help with like booking shows and marketing or whatever the hell else they do, of course they deserve to be compensated, but there's always going to be that unfair balance between this huge conglomerate and like an artist that they're gambling on pretty much to make their money back. Yeah.
Do you hear a lot of those horror stories, and it's just why do you guys think that it kind of still like we got it, or they almost cut out. Anyways, why do you guys think that there been much of a change within the music industry to like start valuing artists more, or is it just still stuck in time there where we're just gonna suck these kids dry until they give us enough money and then leave them?
I think it's gotta be. Yeah, you go ahead, Joe.
I think honestly, like over time, things should evolve and things should progress, but I think a lot of people, like you mentioned earlier, have gone the independent route because they're making the same amount of money as they would if a label was to basically give them a loan and say, hey, you sign this loan, a 360 deal or whatever, and then I want this back. On top of that, I want an extra percentage or whatever, right? So I think there's this mass like horse machine, basically. Like there's this machine that you don't get as an independent artist. There's this machine that you can't really fathom how much help you can get with the machine working behind you, right? And let's say that this machine is a label. This like for an example, Billie Eilish got famous by putting out a song when she was 13 years old on SoundCloud. Literally put out the song, woke up the next morning, the song had 13 million views. I think it's called Ocean Eyes or something, right? So it's like, cool, that's great. If she had not taken the, multi-million-dollar route of having the label behind her, how would her success be now? Right? It probably, I don't know. It probably wouldn't be as great. You know what I mean? Or it could be just as great. I don't know. I have seen artists that are independent and they're known and they're traveling and they're selling out their tours and they're making mad money and not having to cut their check with a label because they're their own label. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. They may have distribution deals which will help them globally, have their music heard or you know what I mean? Like to kind of help out with the marketing. But as far as a label, I mean, you don't really need one if you have a team of people behind you. If you don't, a label can offer you so much more. So, I mean, I look at labels as in like, man, they're the devil, but I also look at labels as like, yo, this could be good, depending on who it is, depending on what the contract is. Maybe a label might offer you $1 million, but maybe you say, hey, I only want to do $20,000 right now. It just really depends.
I've heard of people having like a pretty balanced deal too, just from, being able to do it themselves at first and be able to build a fan base and already prove to the label that they have a fan base and that they can make that money. And then they get a better deal. Like they sign a better contract because the label is desperate enough to bet on them. It's not even a bet anymore. They know they're going to make their money back. So I guess they call that leverage, right?
Yeah. I remember we were at dinner one night and then somehow our age got brought up and I realized that you guys were a lot older than me. And then I was like, whoa. It's like, whoa. But how do you think being older has changed the way you're perceived by other artists? And like, what kind of advantage has that brought?
Excuse me real quickly.
I don't know if I don't think about it really. I try not to think about it. I don't know. Maybe they're willing to listen more. I haven't really asked how their perception of us changes after, we reveal our age, or I can just tell that we're older. I know from a managerial standpoint, you're always going to have a little bit more respect and believe somebody that's got like more of an experience and has some years under their belt. Other than that, I don't know. I mean, the music industry can be ageist.
Sure.
It's kind of built in. Like you got to find these great artists super young. But I don't pay attention to it,
Sure.
Like, the baby, he blew up at, almost 30.
Damn.
Anderson .Paak blew up at 30.
Yeah.
Anderson .Paak, he blew up at 30. But hey guys, it's been a pleasure.
Sweet.
I gotta get going. Kalen, we could do more of these. These are fire. I like your questions. You did a great job.
Okay, sweet. Yeah. Thanks for guys for coming on.
Let's pick back up on this at some point.
Okay. See you guys.
All right.
See you. Bye.
Bye.